Video transition! Ow! Okay. Wow! Oh god, the mask! Did not think that one through at all. Sorry, wait, let me unmask myself real quick. Oh man, I would be a horrible Phantom Thief. Fire me now, if you can. Like, I'm already revealing my identity. I'm not even a minute into this video. Oh shoot, I can't take it off. Wait. Wait. There it is. I know how to undo. Fine. Sorry. There we go. No, I can live with this. Anyway, hey, what's up? It's me, your favorite top 10, top 100, ideally liked fanboy on the internet. Okay, so I was editing a completely unrelated video about social links. I realized something. Persona Protagonists seem to be like the only people in their entire universe with any sense of like free will or capability to do any actions. So, you know, usually in the games, they'll use this ability to make the world a better place. You know, talk with people, you know, make them happy. However, I had a thought. What if instead we just had the worst versions of these protagonists who just spent their time sleeping in their room instead of interacting with anyone other than for the sake of the main story? So, here are the rules we set out. First of all, the protagonists don't advance any social link confidants unless it's absolutely mandatory. Right? If there's any kind of like contradiction, like, oh, but you can't, this doesn't happen until a certain point, or a protagonist might incite something. Okay, don't care. Okay? They'll even still get the good endings or whatever. Or like, neutral, I don't know. This is same going to we don't have like neutral. Anyway, by extension, social links have no free will of any kind. Any problems they face, they will continue to face because they will not have the ability to like progress past this point. So say a character can't talk to men unless the protagonist helps them, that character will be unable to talk to men for the rest of their lives. Sorry to Persona 1 and 2, but you know, Atlas does technology, so neither do I for the sake of this video. Also, I haven't played as FemC, so this will only be like characters from Persona 3 Fez, or FES, whatever. Have fun debating how canon FemC is. Okay, so I got the mask out of my hair. So, when this video was, you know, when I was doing the research for this video, I expected to spend no time on Persona 3, because from what I remembered, although that game is like upsetting, there's no like big implication in your inaction. You know, your ambivalence doesn't really cause the world to be worse. In fact, for the male protagonist route specifically, the world's probably improved because you're not going out with every female at the same time. I would say it's about what I expected. Dorkan doesn't really do much. Okay, so from the party members, first we have Yukari. I'm just going to assume she never gets onto good terms with her mother. There's not a lot going on there. I guess you could say in the future she becomes a movie action hero star while like not speaking to her mother. So by the time of Persona 5, she's like what? It's because in Persona 3, it's been 10 years since he last spoke to her mother. So I guess by Persona 5, she's like a movie star, and it's been like 20. So if anything, she's more marketable. If anything, not talking to the Persona 3 protagonist makes her life better. Okay. Because he just doesn't see her mother again. It's cool. Mitsu, I would say she probably goes through the arranged marriage in this like horrible alternate version of Persona 3. Maybe her life's a bit harder, but I envision Mitsu as like a complete girl boss, and she runs like things in any kind of marriage. So like, you know, probably good. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if like by the end of Persona 3, knowing how Mitsu is like characterized, she just calls up the marriage herself. You know, this is like, nah, don't feel like it. Ben died. Uses the death of like her best friend to like put this marriage off for as long as humanly possible. Fuka, honestly, nothing happens here. In fact, based on like the rules I've set out for myself, where the character's like stuck in a state of like having their problems forever, Fuka like continues to cook. She doesn't improve, but she's like in a state of cooking. So the food just like keeps being bad enough to scare both cats and dogs. So like, poor Kalmaru. Like any kind, the cooking's just bad. That's all there is to it. There's just bad cooking. I guess Robot doesn't know how life works. It sucks and it's sad, but that's it. Chihiro probably never becomes able to talk to men or have confidence. So like, she doesn't appear in Persona 4 anymore, I would guess. Kenji, I think it's hilarious if Kenji specifically continues to like keep living his delusion world for like years, where he thinks he's still dating the teacher, and like when she announces to her class in like his final year that she's getting married, you know, he's like does not comprehend. He's like, I thought we had something, and breaks down right then and there. I don't know why, that's just funny to me. He's just kind of like he's just into older women. It's fine, it's whatever, you know. Yuko doesn't want to become a coach anymore. Honestly, the involvement of Protagonist here, so minuscule, he may as well not be there. Okay, so Mamoru is interesting. His mother would still collapse from exhaustion, but I think in this version of like Persona 3, because you know, Dorkin's not there to help him out. His team wouldn't help him. So you know, his mother just collapses from exhaustion, and no one gives him any like assistance or anything. I can see him just become like going for the college sponsorship instead of like working to help his family, because he wouldn't realize he can take things slower. He would just like keep up with his sport of your choice. He would just keep up with his sport of your choice, and then you know, he would probably go for the scholarship and try to go through that. I don't know if this would make his life better or not. It definitely makes it harder. His life definitely becomes harder. Okay, now Zumi, he dies. That's not like a joke or anything. Now Zumi just straight up dies. Okay, like think about this. He helps people join a cult. He scammed several other people. Like by the time you're progressing his social link, he has a kid's father get hired goons to beat him up. All right, he's 100% gonna die, and he's probably also not gonna become a food critic either. So he's not gonna become well known. He's just gonna like die with his constant inferiority complex. Keisuke's hard because he either becomes a doctor and hates it, or he becomes artist of your choice and hates it. So like, pick your poison, because it's one or the other. Either way, he hates life. Hidetoshi never trusts people. Wow, sucks. Poor him. Akinari. Now, when I got to this point, I realized, oh yeah, Persona 3 is kind of depressing. Akinari would just die. He never finishes his story. Or rather, he never gives the story a happy ending. So it probably doesn't end up being published. Or the funny idea, maybe he publishes it with a really sad, depressing ending, but both Kanji and Nanako, like, because by Persona 4, both of them know about it. So what if, like, it's really sad, depressing, and Dojima's just such a bad father, he's let Nanako read this, like, horrible children's book that no one recommends. Maiko, again, so Persona 3 is, like, pretty depressing. Here, I imagine Maiko's parents probably stay together, still fight. She hates her home life, probably still like gets accidentally hit by her father. So that's like a time-based thing. That's not like Maiko's will. That just happens in the world. So you know, she'll run from home. They don't find her. She's convinced nobody cares for her, and she goes off doing, I don't know what, but she like almost certainly dies. I don't see this like. I think she's 9. I don't see this 9-year-old kid managing to survive, like, for any period of time. Bebe. Okay. Bebe's aunt will die. This is just like, this happens. Unless you are telling me that, like, Persona 3 Protagonist talking to people is the only thing that progresses their life events, right? Which would imply that if Persona 3 Protagonist doesn't talk to the Frenchman, his aunt doesn't die. And I'm not going to say that's how that works, because that doesn't make for good content. So, he goes back to France, doesn't make the kimono, he's sad, okay? He has no friends in Japan, so he just stays in France for the rest of his life. And I could totally see him, like, that sad, depressing energy. He probably stay as a designer. He's probably more successful in this version of events. Because, he probably designed stuff in France, and, like, they pop off. And, I get to see this version of Bebe appearing, like, Persona 5. It's, like, being name dropped. It's like, oh, yeah, that cool designer guy. The key to mirrors. Protagonist being here or not doesn't change anything. Because the social link is just, like, the couple existing and being sad about their dead son. If you want to, like, make this sad and depressing, I guess you could say they hear the news of the tree in memory of their son being moved. They don't get over it. Die of heartbreak. I don't know. Does anyone dislike these people? Because I love them. I think they're lovely and wholesome. And you should feel bad not talking to them. Because they are great. Okay. Terumi, she plays an MMO by herself, if you don't exist. Which I think is the worst kind of, like, punishment impossible, like, imaginable. The fact that Terumi is just playing this MMO alone, no one talks to her, that's horrible. You have, like, sentenced this woman to death, essentially, by that. Mutatsu, Monk doesn't find his family and keeps drinking away his sorrows. Next. So Tanaka, in Persona 3, he just kind of develops a sense of morals. But then in Persona 5, he runs, like, a shady commodities shop online. So, I don't know if, like, it matters. Because canonically, he ends up just running a shady shop regardless, so it's fine. I guess you can argue that. Elizabeth. Elizabeth isn't a romance option. Nothing like that. But it said Elizabeth is looking for a way to free the protagonist's soul. Which I'm assuming, I'm making this claim now, would probably also free Nyx, who would then attempt to, like, kill everyone. So, retroactively, in the case that, like, Elizabeth ever finds a way to free Dorkun, I'm going to blame all of the souls that are at risk on him. It is his fault. All in all, Persona 3, not doing the social links just really inconveniences a lot of people. And I guess you, like, spawn the most malicious businessman known to man. But he's already there, so I guess you've allowed this horrible businessman to keep existing. Okay, so Persona 4. So when I was researching this, I thought to myself that Persona 4 with their social links, you're affecting people a lot more. Like, there's lasting implications for people's lives, right? Like, in Persona 3, it's, boo-hoo, this girl can't talk to men, or, oh no, this guy will never be able to trust people. But then, Persona 4, I feel like a lot of this will, like, have long-standing trauma that these people will hold for the rest of their lives. Okay, so for Yukiko, I would say that her life probably becomes better. She decides to leave Inaba, which has nothing in it. Like, reminder, there's so much of nothing in Inaba that Nanako wants to go to, like, the supermarket for fun, right? So she decides to, like, not run the inn, become an interior decorator, studies that, right? She, like, moves away. For the sake of, like, convenience, she probably almost kills a class with her cooking and comes back home to keep a low profile anyway. Like, I don't know. I feel like she either runs the inn or she doesn't, right? And she probably ends up running the inn regardless, because there's no one else to run it. Because it's a family business, and they're not going to give their employees rights. What, you think this is some kind of meritocracy? Honestly. Okay, for Yosuke, I have no idea what happens here. Guys' like entire existence revolves around Chad Narukami. So his entire arc is just getting over the fact he's jealous of him. So nothing changes. He just doesn't get beat up, right? I feel like he can get over a lot of like the stuff on it by himself, right? You know what? No, I said there's no free will. He doesn't get over anything. He's sad because the girl he liked died for the rest of his life, and also he's jealous of Chad Narukami. Kanji. Okay, so Kanji, he continues repressing himself, never makes anything cute ever again, doesn't open up a knitting class, and probably has like a mental breakdown in a few years over like how horrible his life is and how he can't do anything he likes. I can totally see that happening. Can you see that happening, you cute object? Yes, you can. Okay, so for Rise, I think the idea here is if she doesn't talk to Chad Narukami, she doesn't go back to showbiz, right? Because she decides he wants to live as Rise instead of Reset. Because, you know, they're like, oh no, it's just out of the same coin. So she doesn't return to showbiz. She probably becomes like super mad about it in like this version of Persona 4. I love the idea of like Rise specifically, like this super successful, super talented girl who like in every piece of Persona media just gets an upgraded persona or some kind of power, and you know, she just becomes a one-hit wonder, and that's it. I love that idea. So that's like what I'm gonna say happens in this version of Persona 4, where like Chad Narukami doesn't do anything. So Naoto, her entire thing is just learning to like investigations again. You know, it doesn't play into like gender or anything. It's just like she learns to enjoy solving mysteries. So she's fine, right? She just ends up hating her job, which makes her a healthy adult at the end of the day. So Chie, in my mind, I have this image of like, without Chad Narukami helping out, Chie just goes down the path of evil, goes full vigilante instead of being police officer. Because, you know, it's funny. In case you can't tell, for a lot of party members, you kind of just watch them overcome their problems. But yeah, I would say that for Chie, probably goes full vigilante. Or if you really want to like go hard in on the whole, she's like, there's no outside influence. She just is in a perpetual state of training. She becomes Goku. Oh no, there's Akihiko. She becomes like, I can't think of a metaphor. She becomes like a weaker form of Goku that's just constantly training, and that's it. That's her existence. Margaret, she doesn't do anything regardless of like if you interact with her or not. She tells Nanako that Narukami is a man whore. I just wanted to bring that up. I love it. That happens regardless. Like that's just a thing that happens in the universe. So Dojima, in his case, he ends up not spending more time with his daughter. He's still hunting down his wife's killer, and there's never a resolution on it. Like I'm pretty sure Dojima just says, "Yeah, I'm getting closer." So this is just never solved. So the day Narukami leaves, Nanako's just miserable. And Dojima's just the worst parent possible, I would guess. He never goes to like the... Does that happen in his social link? It doesn't, but you know, he never goes to like the parents teacher like meeting thing. Strength. I don't feel like arguing which one is more canon. So let's just do both. Ko gains a huge imposter syndrome and has no idea what he wants to do himself. Daisuke thinks girl sucks, says Nanako isn't cute, and he keeps self-handicapping. That comes up later, the cute thing. Naoki, he never gets over his sister's death. His family's liquor store probably shuts down. And I imagine in the ultimate twist of fate, he starts working in Junes because his grades are horrible because he just keeps skipping school all the time. Hisano, so she just, this poor lady, she just keeps living by herself. And she dies sooner or later, just with no one around her. Because Yu doesn't even like meet her once, so no one else is like affecting her. She just dies, like straight up in a few years, I could imagine. So Eri, she never bonds with her son, so Yuta's life sucks because he thinks his stepmom hates him, and Eri's life sucks because she thinks her stepson hates her, and like she thinks he's a bad kid because of all the rumors. So, you know, unfortunate, really sad. The like husband father in this situation, he's great. He's making a bunch of money though, so don't worry about that. Saiko hates her life. She hates her job. She's super lonely. Again, like Nanako, just a functional adult, if anything. Shu, he keeps thinking he needs to be number one. So he cheats on the test to earn his mother's love. His mother gets upset about him, the school gets upset about him. Nobody helps him at all. He's really sad, doesn't know how to deal with it. You know, it's his birthday, everyone forgets. Because that's a thing that happens in the canon, I'm pretty sure. I don't think even his mother remembers his birthday. Probably just keeps cheating. I could totally see that happening. He just keeps cheating, but he doesn't get caught anymore. Okay, so I dies. She has nobody other than you who talks to her like she's a human being. So the moment that Squirm's crush doesn't like her, she would go to the school roof, and she would probably go through with it, if anything. Although considering the fact that she survives, maybe I would be fine. Not mentally. You know, she still like desires constant affirmation all the time, and lives for attention. But whatever, you know. Maybe she just becomes an Instagram star in a few years. Probably works. Sun. Okay, so like the strength persona, choose your choice. Yumi's dad still dies. There's no real resolution there. She loses her love for acting and can't figure out if she wants to do it or not. So she just gives up the drama club. Doesn't do anything else. Like, doesn't get a job, doesn't go through it. As she just becomes like a background character. Ayane doesn't gain a sense of resolve or become selfish or serious about music. Which, as someone who enjoys a lot of music, that sucks. Sucks that there's one less probably really cool musician out there in the world. Okay, so Fox is the start of like something really alarming. By you not doing this social link, he's not necessarily ruining stuff for the Fox. He's kind of just ruining several other people's lives. Like, or significantly inconveniencing a lot of them. Also, the shrine never gets renovated. But that's second hand to like Psychopath Yu Noakami. Nanako. Okay, so first off, by not doing the social link, Yu is shown to be a psychopath. No questions asked. This isn't like boohoo poor Nanako. No, Yu is living with this girl who calls him big bro and is actively not like helping her in any way, not talking to her. You know, there's no like sad Nanako moment because Yu's just not talking to her at all. Yu's just a deranged lunatic who doesn't want to help her with any of her issues. I mean, look at her. Look at her, she's so innocent. And Yu doesn't want to like help her. You know, probably this version of you probably like has her be hospitalized. Like, finally, I get to sleep as much as I want. Adachi. Thing as we set up that the Yu in this universe is a complete lunatic already, just give it the bad ending. Except, isn't like Adachi having gone overseas, he sees how deranged Yu is, and like how happy he was when Nanako was in hospital, and just flees to another country. He's out. He never wants to like see him again. I want to be in the same country. Marie, I don't think anything happens here. I think regardless of like whatever you do, you still like go through the route where you fight her. So, I don't know, in the bad timeline, this version of Yu uses her to make it rain snails and everyone turns into snails. Yeah, that was Joseph's reference, gotta get one in there.
Joker just walks by, blam, 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 that's fucked up.
Persona 5. Let's go to my Persona 5. My expectation was, there's a lot of problems in Persona 5 specifically that are solved by you changing someone's heart. And they're like, actually bad people here. So, already going into this, I was expecting like, this would probably be pretty bad. Not as bad as like the stuff the other protagonists do, which is essentially leading people to their own death. But you know, like I feel like it amounts to there's more bad stuff happening in Persona 5, even it doesn't peak as bad as it does in like Persona 3, where you just like let some guy die, and you've probably like indirectly killed a kid. Makoto. Makoto doesn't want to become police chief anymore. She never makes a friend her age outside of Haru. Probably graduates, go to college, and just takes her sister's path from there anyway, even though she said she wouldn't, because she doesn't know what else she wants to do in life. God, her social link sucks. Haru still has to go through with the arranged marriage, remains the primary stockholder of the biggest food chain in the world, but she's just like the puppet president at this point. She also never ends up liking coffee. So, you know, might be a better timeline. Hey, so for Yusuke never stops painting. His entire like arc and character and everything is about painting, but it never becomes good enough for him because, you know, he sees the ugliness of the human heart. So massive imposter syndrome going on there, and he has to live with that. Alright, so for An, he stays a model. He's kind of like doing it as a hobby instead of doing it seriously, and overall just has no real goal in life. Ryuji. So Ryuji's confidant is all about the track team and not really him. So the track team gets a new coach after being like reinstated. The coach exploits them. Ryuji doesn't fix this. He doesn't like talk with the other members of the track team. He doesn't like make up with them. The track team's just miserable. There's just like 4 kids who hate their life now, and Ryuji just doesn't care because you don't care. Goro Akechi. I like to think that like Goro Akechi just becomes more insane. You know, Rose Akechi. Just loses his shit even harder because Joker didn't even talk to him once. I'm pretty sure you can still get like all of the regular Persona 5 stuff without that. So this is how I see it. Futaba, we have one more socially inept person in the world. She doesn't go to school either. I guess that's fine because she already is super skilled. Also, her childhood friend's still abused. So congrats, Joker. So Jiro, he keeps paying off Futaba's uncle because you never caused a change of heart in him. That's it. Shiheya. Okay, so the pyramid scheme keeps on going. He still believes he's a monster. I want to establish, like, or re-establish, she's a very real fortune teller. Okay? We know for a fact, like, she sees the future and what she predicts will come to pass. Unless someone has a will capable of changing it. But she also seems to just, like, create absolutes regardless. I guess you can will the future to change. I don't know, it's unclear. But regardless, this fortune teller who can see the future and believes fate is immutable is just going around telling people what she believes will happen to them, and everyone just buys it because no one has like the capability of free will. EY, the Yakuza still pressure him for guns. He makes them. His son has a horrible life. The Yakuza member never had a change of heart, so he's still immoral. More immoral, I guess. Takemi, she never finishes the medicine, so the little girl dies because of you and a bunch of other people. Also, the hospital director never has a change of heart, so he's also a bad person who exploits his employees. Karakami, the teacher probably has to work for the special maid business, and probably has to quit teaching altogether eventually just to pay back these people. Oh yeah? Now she never finds out the truth to put in her article. Her boss is also kind of a dick. That's it though, because you haven't interacted with her, so her quotas don't go up. So she's kind of like has to keep writing these entertainment articles and never figures it out. Get smoked, kid. He stays obsessed with winning, has no friends, mother makes his life way harder, and she goes full on Karen. Hifumi, her mother keeps rigging her matches and she becomes a star. Oh, that's a confidant. That's a tarot card. Funny. Anyway, she becomes a star, and she gives up the sport she loves. Wait, playing a shogi a sport? Yes, shogi a sport. It's a strategy board game. Wait, is chess a sport? I feel like kind of biased. Anyway. Mishima. Mishima doesn't do much. I guess he kind of just goes full Reddit mod and lives with that. The fan fees eventually stop existing, so I don't know what he does after the fan side. Is this like ever established? I guess he becomes an actual Reddit mod at this point. Yoshida, he doesn't get over his reputation as no good Torah. He loses the election even harder. Maruki, you don't get third semester. Sucks to be you, but also you don't have like this overpowered guy running about. Yoshizawa, she probably just fails as a gymnast. Like, you know, you don't help her, she just kind of fails in life. That's it. Doesn't really go anywhere, never meets her dreams. You suck. Okay, now for the bonus part, requests. I'm going to assume no Persona Protagonist does any of their requests either. I know this is like kind of impossible in Persona 5. Ignore that. No one cares. If you ignore all the requests in Persona 3 Portable, they total up to a starving cat, unclean bathrooms, and 20 different people who are brain dead. One of which is like a little girl. So, you know, wow. Dorkun, you really should have cared. Persona 4 Golden, again you have a starving cat. You probably irritate a lot of people, but nobody dies due to your inaction. Persona 5 though, here's what you're ignoring with ambivalence. I've written a list out. Stalker X, 2 bullies, cat kidnapper, scam artist old man, abusive girlfriend, abusive employer, cyber stalker, cat abuser, assault, abuse of power, more scam artists, identity fraud, cheating in video games, worst crime, murder, more scamming, on top of that, womanizing, and more abuse of power. Okay? Few of these are from Mishima, but they need to go somewhere. So they're going in here. So yeah. In terms of requests, if you're to ignore them, it's a question between which do you think is worse? Leaving 20 different people to go brain dead when you know they're there in Tartarus and that you can save them? Or, you know, letting that list of actual, like, criminals and scum of the earth walk by. I'm gonna have to go with, like, the entire brain dead thing, I would say. Video transition! Ow.